Hello, networkers, and welcome back to another episode of Ask the Network Engineer, where I will answer one of your questions. And in this video, I want to do a part 2 of answering some of your questions in regards to struggles of becoming a network engineer. So I did a part 1 where I talked specifically about the struggles and things to keep in mind. So I want to answer 2 related questions in this episode. Okay, so here are the 2 questions. So the first one was posted by Emmanuel. And he says that he is in the same predicament as another person that I posted about. So he says, I only finally got a knock role about 9 months ago with a CCNT, and I have about 6 years of desktop experience. I got my CCNA 4 months ago, and I can't seem to get interviews for an engineering role, let alone getting hired. There are tons of jobs in my market. There's even several engineering roles at my old job. I reached out and nothing. What am I doing wrong here? I know my LinkedIn needs updating. Maybe it's my resume. And another question was posted by Andrew Owenhan. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. But Andrew asks, thank you very much for all your videos and the help that you provide to so many people. I'm a little further in my career. I have about 1.5 years of experience as a network technician in a data center. That's pretty impressive. Network technician in a data center, that's very good. I do have some layer 2 configuration experience. I've touched some of the Cisco Nexus switches. That's also very good. And you would expect that in a data center environment. I do some general network connectivity troubleshooting also in the data center. I recently earned my CCNP in routing and switching about 2 months ago. However, I have had little success in getting any sort of network engineering position. 95% of them want some experience already or are asking for voice experience, wireless experience, etc. Do you have any tips for how I can get to the next level? I'm afraid that more search won't help me too much at this point. I agree. Anyway, and at my current job, I have maxed out my responsibilities. Network engineers I work with will not give us any opportunities due to the job dynamic. We techs are employed by a MSP for a data center for a Fortune 500 company. The network engineers are at the Fortune 500 company and they look down upon us. That'll bring back a lot of bad memories. Okay, so good questions from both Emmanuel and Andrew. So let me go ahead and talk about that and give you some of my opinions and some of my suggestions. Okay, so there are a lot of moving parts here, really, in these 2 questions that I read. So first for Emmanuel, it was really about the LinkedIn or the resume. Is that the particular issue? And for Andrew, it was more of, I have the experience, but what am I missing here? Because I can't get jobs in my current employment because people are looking down and would not give us that kind of opportunities. So I want to kind of approach those very differently. So for Emmanuel, keep in mind about something. When you're looking for job opportunities and there's a job for a network engineer, okay, or a network analyst or a junior network engineer or anything along those lines, keep in mind that there are other people that are looking at those same jobs and they're all applying for it. So you can imagine that as an employer, they're getting dozens of resumes at any given time. Depends where you live. It could be dozens upon dozens of these resumes. So the key thing is that it must stand out. You must have a great first impression. And guess what? Your resume is that first impression. It's also your LinkedIn page. Okay, so let's talk about that very quickly. For the LinkedIn page, this is where a lot of employers will actually look at. So yeah, they may see your resume and say, okay, that's the person's name. Let me see if they have a LinkedIn profile. That's why I usually tell people it is critical to have a profile, a professional profile of all your achievements, your experience, your skills. This is you kind of showing off your potential skill sets that you are employable. So people who do not have a LinkedIn page, you need to stop watching this video and start working on that now. And I talked about this in another episode on my channel. I'm not sure which one it was, but look at my LinkedIn page as a reference point to start building your own kind of LinkedIn page. You want to reflect your certifications. You want to reflect the different kind of skills and jobs and hardware and technology that you are familiar with. Because guess what? I get job offers a lot from employers that reach out to me through LinkedIn, and I'm not looking for jobs. So it is very clear that people are looking on the LinkedIn page, looking at people that could be a good fit for particular clients or for particular companies. So you need to make sure that you have a really robust portfolio or profile on the LinkedIn page. That needs to be a priority. And whatever is on your LinkedIn, make sure that it matches up with your resume, because the resume is what you're going to basically give to the employers. Now, whether it's the LinkedIn page or if it's a resume, it has to stand out, because again, employers are getting tons of resumes. And I talked about this several times in other episodes, but they're getting tons of resumes. Why should I call you and not somebody else? I'm looking through all these resumes, looking really at a couple parameters here. I'm looking at this as, okay, so I have a particular requirement that this person must have these qualifications for this job, okay? But I also have a particular kind of price range of what I can pay that person, right? So that's why you may be a very decorated network engineer with like 10 years of experience, and you're applying for a job that's for a junior network engineer. Yes, you have the experience, but they will know like, whoa, I can't afford that person. So they're not going to make the effort of calling. So that could be another component, especially in the case of Andrew's particular position there. So that's something to keep in mind. Having certifications and kind of posting that up there stands out. And more because you can put like the logo, right? Because it stands out. It's an image. That's why when I have my resumes, I have my CCIE logo image right there on the resume, and it stands out. So when they're looking through tons of resumes, oh, there's a picture there. So that what catches their attention. And the higher certification usually gets the attention. Again, it depends on the job that you're applying for. If the employer is looking for a senior network engineer, or if they require somebody with a CCIE, they're looking specifically for that kind of those parameters. Okay, so that's why having a lot of credible experience on your resume will make your resume pop and make it really stand out. And that's even from my particular experience of working with employers and helping them with a hiring process. I talked about this a lot in other episodes too. That's why it's important to watch all the episodes on this channel, because I talk a lot about this a lot. But I work with employers, and yes, we look at resumes, and I kind of help them weed out certain things. And I kind of weed it out based on the requirements. Does this resume meet those requirements? And if it doesn't, then I do not give those recommendations to that particular business. It depends really on what those requirements are. If they're looking for a senior person, then it needs to be a person that has been doing this for a long time, working with different projects, different technologies, things like that. Like if someone says, oh, we're looking for a data center technician, having a Cisco Nexus experience, that's something that's going to catch an eye for me, and move it aside and say, let's contact this person and see if it's a good personality fit, things like that. And to continue that conversation with Andrew case. So again, Andrew, the same points about LinkedIn and resume that still apply. So kind of keep those considerations. You have a great background, in my opinion. Data center is definitely a hot topic. You have exposure to that. You have Cisco Nexus experience. For me, that's a doozy right there. So you have that. You have troubleshooting experience. That's a big deal. So I think really a big part of that is that if you're looking for jobs, I think that you're trying to apply for jobs internally. There's something I talked about in another video, but if the environment you are a part of, is it open for people to move around to different departments? If it is not, and in your case, that seems to be the case, where network engineers are like, you stay over there, this is my thing, okay? Don't get into my job security sort of thing. that's not the right environment for you, and you need to prepare your LinkedIn, your resume, apply it everywhere with that experience, and get the hell out of there. Because I've been in environments like that. I have personally been in environments where, man, these guys are a piece of work. That these guys here, or women, but these network engineers are essentially not very supportive of wanting to bring people into their departments. They are very resistant of, this is mine, this is mine. You can't have my network. And it makes it really hard to go into those departments. And again, if it's not open, you need to move on. Don't think that things could change. Just assume that it will not change. Some environments are very open for that. Others are not. Don't waste your time with that. You need to just look at other options here. Now, you may have a very good job, but at the same time, if you can't progress in that particular job to advance your skills more as a network engineer, in your particular case, you got to look at what the next option is. Yes, it sucks. It sucks because you should be able to advance in the company, but that's just not how it goes. I also did a video about politics in companies, and that's another example of politics. So look out for your best interests, and that is get all the experience that you possibly can get. More experience, the better, because it makes your resume pop even more. So do that, and I would just recommend just to move on, because that environment is already toxic, and there's really no sense of. Furthermore, even if you did get in, you probably don't want to be around those group of network engineers anyway, because that could also lead to another result of you getting fired or them putting the blame on you. Okay, it's a personality thing for me a lot of times too. How a person is really reflects who they are as a person, and also how they do their job professionally. If they have this kind of mentality of, no, this is my thing here, go somewhere else, I don't want to work with them in the first place. And there are a lot of great network engineers out there that I have worked with before. And we have a very strong dynamic, and we are better as a team, and we learn better as a team. Okay. So just keep those factors in mind. I know what you're going through, and I recommend getting things polished up with the resume and the LinkedIn and get out of there. And we're done with this episode. So if you have any questions about being a network engineer or anything in the networking field, post those questions below in the comments, and your question may appear in another episode for Ask the Network Engineer. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and support us at routhub.net or on my Patreon page. And until next time, as always, keep networking.